Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today I will be chit-chatting about my personal thoughts on COVID-19, the coronavirus, and how it's impacted me as a school psychology graduate student and as an Asian American. So I'll have some of my personal thoughts in there, how it's impacting me, and some resources for you that will hopefully be useful. So to start off, there's a lot of misinformation and fear-mongering going on, especially because of the media, and we really have to be careful with what we consume. There's so much on the internet, there's so much news. We really have to pick and choose what we want to believe and what we want to put in our minds, because it will really shape how you think and how you behave. Something that has popped up in the Asian community is that New York Post, they wrote an article about the first case in New York. This was maybe a week and a half ago, and the cover of the article was an East Asian man, and there was another one with an East Asian woman, and the people who tested positive were people who traveled to Iran, and they're American, and the covers are of Asian people. That is wrong. What kind of picture are you painting for people who read these articles? And so I had a few friends post on their Facebook that it made them feel really uncomfortable. And now when they're commuting or when they're in public, they become really self-conscious and they just feel weird around other people because of this image that the media is painting of us. All right, my personal opinion about this virus is that yes, healthy children and young adults are going to be okay. They might get sick, but they're probably not going to die. However, we really have to be considerate of elderly people and people who are immunocompromised. So people who are sick or they have chronic illnesses, who just have weaker immune systems. So what I'm trying to say is people need to stop being selfish and stop being so cavalier about this whole situation, saying, oh, it's not going to happen to me, or even if I get it, I'm not going to die. But what about other people? Do you really want to be that person spreading it to everyone just because you're not going to die? Do you really have to go to the bar or go and be so nonchalant about being in public and, meeting up with all these people just because you're going to be okay? I don't think that's okay. I have grandparents that live around me, and I want to make sure that they're being safe and I'm not going to spread anything to them, because even something like the flu is going to be really hard on their body. So yeah, now I've had some friends on social media say a lot of things like, oh, people are freaking out for no reason. This is so stupid. But I think that's really, really ignorant to say. And it's been bothering me a lot. And I think this their attitude stems from all this skepticism and denial. The truth of the matter is our country cannot keep up with the pace of this outbreak. Whereas China and Korea, they really have this system down where they can build hospitals or they can really have all these testing kits. Whereas how many people have we tested in America? Do we have enough medical staff to even take care of people who are sick? So how is this impacting me as a school psychology graduate student? It's impacting me in a few ways. Nothing serious, but my university's closed for the time being. We are having an extra week of spring break because this past week was my spring break, and then they're extending our spring break for another week, probably to make sure students who are traveling back from spring break, they can quarantine, and also to train professors and students to go online, because starting next week, our classes will be moved online. And this includes our clinic, and everything's moving online. This also includes a midterm that I was supposed to have in a couple of days, but now my midterm is going to be the week after online. And they have this web platform where you have to record yourself to make sure you're not cheating, and then your screen gets locked out. I'm also in practicum, and practicum requires you to go into schools or meet with kids and do testing, things like that. So that is being impacted because our clinic is also closing, and so you really can't do any testing if you don't meet the kid one-on-one. It's going to make it more difficult for people who are not done with testing yet, because they either have to get permission from our site director to meet with the family only if the examiner and the family are both comfortable meeting and doing the testing. And then for feedback sessions, going over the results and all of that will have to be done online or after the clinic reopens. And we don't know when that's going to be. For me, thankfully, I'm done with testing in the clinic, so I'm just writing up the report, and then I will probably do the feedback online. But then for my school practicum, I need to go into the schools and finish testing the students. But right now, the school systems are all closed, and so I'm not really sure what's going to happen. We either need to be exempt, or there needs to be an exception for us not being able to meet the criteria, or maybe our supervisor can give us some information and data and resources for us to finish our reports. All right, and then I guess lastly, as a graduate student, I am graduating this May, and we really don't know how long the university is going to be closed, and when all of this will blow over. So I don't know if we will have a graduation or will it be online. Who knows what's going to happen. I know I'll get my diploma, hopefully, and maybe it'll all blow over and I'll be walking across the stage, or maybe I will have graduation online. How is this impacting students and families? This one's a big one. So in my area, I'm in Northern Virginia, most of the school systems are closed, at least for the next few weeks. And students will need to continue online instruction. So what does that mean? We need to train teachers. We need to train parents. We need to make sure there's childcare for younger children, elementary students. We need to make sure children have access to computers and other resources. And what about low-income families? How are they going to support their children? Are they going to be able to eat? Are some of the older children too busy babysitting and taking care of their younger children or younger siblings to even have time to study and, pursue this online instruction? There's a lot that goes into this, and I think the school systems are doing what they need to do to keep everyone safe and to cover their butts. But are they providing enough to even make all of this possible for everyone? I'm not sure. There's just a lot going on, and I think people are taking it day by day, and I would love to see how all of this plays out, but hopefully the community is doing more to support all these children and everyone out there that is being negatively impacted by this virus. I know there are a lot of families that are also, grateful for extra family time and for the resources that are available, like online instruction, but we also have to, be empathetic and aware of what else is going on outside of our world. And then this also messes up testing eligibility. I think it's different for every state. Some people in the school site group, they're saying that the meeting dates don't change, and so they have to do eligibility if the school buildings are open, I guess. I'm not really sure. And some districts and schools are pushing everything back because it's not possible to meet those dates and deadlines. And so I guess you'll have to just check with your state or your county and see what's going on. I have some resources for families and children and maybe some teachers as they're going through all of this. So some resources on how to talk about COVID-19 to your children, and some academic and social emotional activities that Scholastic is offering for a few weeks. Someone also posted a schedule for children when they're home. There's a period for academics without your phone. There's lunch, taking a walk outside, and academics with electronics. And I think it's a pretty simple way to keep structure in the house so that there's some sort of learning going on and it's not just like a vacuum of doing nothing. Lastly, as an Asian American, I'm really disappointed in the way that this pandemic has revealed the true nature of our country and Western societies. This virus has made it a really easy excuse for xenophobia and microaggressions and racism. And it's really interesting because all of my Asian friends, they know what I'm talking about, but when it comes to my non-Asian friends, they don't know. And I don't know how you don't know when it's all over the internet. So maybe it just doesn't like grab their attention, or I'm not really sure. So when I talk about this stuff, they're like amazed, or it's like they're hearing it for the first time. I admit there's a fine line between being cautious and then being offensive. If I see anyone in public coughing or sneezing, even in a Asian person, it doesn't matter what they look like, I will be cautious and probably stay away from them if they are coughing and they look like they're sick. But it becomes offensive and racist when you see an Asian person and you act that way, or you see someone wearing a mask and they act that way. I've heard countless stories from friends and from social media and the news, and yeah, there's just been a lot of people who have been offended by how they're being treated on the subway or the bus or just in public, and like comments and looks that they get, and it's heartbreaking. And it's exhausting to see the news and social media related to violent attacks and hate crime towards people of Asian descent because of this pandemic. It's really heartbreaking that this is our current reality, and I hate the feeling of being self-conscious when I'm out in public, and I felt it today and yesterday and last week. Like, I always wonder like what people are thinking or assuming when they see me. God forbid I cough or sneeze in public due to allergies or something stuck in my throat. Like, I'm terrified. So I recently contributed to a NASP resource related to COVID-19, and I'll link it down below. It's about microaggressions and racism surrounding this pandemic, and there's a resource for families, and then there's a resource for educators, and it would be cool if you can check it out. There's a lot of good stuff in there, so I'll link it down below. And I think the best way we can help our community right now is to practice social distancing by not going out to crowded places, and like, you don't have to completely isolate yourself, but be smart. So if you need supplies, like, go out and get your supplies, but don't be so close to people. Wash your hands when you get home. Don't touch your face. I'm very guilty of that. So minimize unnecessary interactions in big crowds. And this is not only a great way to protect yourself from getting sick, but also your loved ones, people you may come into contact with, like your grandparents or your parents. And that's it. I rambled a lot. Oh my gosh. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Are we overreacting? Is there toilet paper at your grocery store? Have you witnessed or experienced any of these like microaggressions or racism? How has it impacted you so far? I would love to know. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.